I don't know what you people are doing, but you're really barking up the wrong tree.
We're asking questions, man.
Sir, I have nothing to say to you.
A student in your program got taken advantage of.
Sir, you got about 5 seconds to get off my.
If you're asking us to leave, we're leaving.
I'm definitely telling you to leave.
Not a problem.
This is private
We're
property.
asking questions as journalists. We are not doing anything more than that. We are simply asking questions as journalists. We called you on the phone.
You are on private
You hung up
property.
the phone on us. You asked us to leave. We're leaving. You then chased us.
You are on. I know. I ain't chasing nowhere. I am in my right
I asked
here.
you if you had anything you wanted to talk about.
This is my property.
You don't care about a young
I don't
girl
care about
who
your
you were
story.
responsible for. She was under your care, correct?
No.
She would never be alone with a convicted criminal.
Oh, no. They're still children that we're taking care of.
Just to be clear, like, we're talking like minor high school students will be alone with criminals in jail?
Yeah, I mean, they hire, I mean, the reason why we do it because they hire at age 18.
So they're getting experience before they become an adult?
Yes.
I'm aware that if you're intent on doing something, it's almost impossible to stop. As long as I've been here, I've had correction officers engaged in sexual activity within the facility and been prosecuted. We've sent people to prison for that. And one thing I know is that if somebody is intent on doing something, it's very hard to stop it completely, because you can move around, and while an officer is doing his round, you can step inside a cell for a very short period of time, engage in some nefarious activity, like bringing contraband in or something like that. I believe the person is now 18. There was, at all times in this particular incident, there was another officer in that pod.
I'm happy to answer your name. I'm AJ. AJ, Public Relations Coordinator here.
Public Relations, okay. Do you want to go? He's unavailable to speak.
I would prefer to speak on behalf of the district. So, as of last year, then, how did the program just end? Is it the sheriff's office that stopped it? Because from my understanding, the sheriff's office told me that after they learned of the incident, that they were the ones that stopped the program.
Oh, that's not something that I'm aware of. That would be a question for the sheriff's office. If that's something that, I mean, are you aware that the sheriff's office is no longer? As far as
well, I believe that we temporarily suspended it.
Okay, I can connect you down to his office. However, we are on summer break, so we really have a skeleton crew here right now. We'll try Miss Baumgartner and see if she's in. I'm going to try one more person. Hold on.
The person at extension 4117 is unavailable.
So no students, I can tell her that. No student's been assaulted through Butler Tech at the jail.
Correct.
Okay, well, thank goodness, man. So what happened with...
Excuse me? I can't speak on students.
I'll give you my email address, and you can send me an email with the particulars that you know. I will go through the proper channels with Marshal Service headquarters to see, what information we can relay to you. But I also believe, very respectfully, that you need to do a FOIA request asking the information if there was an investigation done by the Marshal Service. If something to that effect, what information can they provide you?
I don't know if this jogs your memory at all. Willie Attaway and Larkin McGowan are the federal inmates involved. So there's a record of this. Are those people you'd be familiar with? Hardened criminals?
I have no comment, sir.
If you just tolerate, we received this email and we are opening an investigation into this matter, and we will forward it to the appropriate authorities for further investigation.
Are you able to confirm that you were not aware of this prior to us letting you know?
We were not aware.
Well, what I can say is, based on what you guys advised us of on Friday, we are formalizing a written response that once it gets approval from Marshal Service headquarters, I will forward to you.
Okay.
But outside of the official response, I want to say thank you for bringing this to our attention.
So first, I can report to you today that the U.S. Marshals have opened an investigation into a massive cover-up within the Butler County, Ohio jail. And I know that exclusively because of our undercover unit and you, the supporting members of Mug Club. Second, I'm going to let you know how this seemingly local story actually directly affects and impacts you and your community. To start with, a 17-year-old girl was taking part in a school vocational program. in which she spent time with violent federal inmates who proceeded to coerce and manipulate her into sexual acts and trafficking contraband. Now, how did this happen? And who, if anybody, could have stopped it? According to all of the information available, the incident was buried by both those in charge at the Butler Tech Justice Program, that's the vocational school, and the Butler County Sheriff's Department itself. Why? A wild guess would suggest that Butler County's not wanting to lose their multi-million-dollar federal contract with the U.S. Marshals could be a reason. And I'm sure that 17-year-old girls being exposed to and left with violent federal inmates might reflect poorly on the publicly funded Butler Tech vocational program. Key terms here being contracts and publicly funded. Starting to see how this could happen in your community, in any community? I'll let you be the judge. Starts with an internship involving the county jail with a minor who was seemingly allowed free rein and was repeatedly left unattended with hardened criminals, including a convicted murderer. As a result, a relationship developed between this minor female and two dangerous federal inmates. Larkin McGowan, who committed every crime from drug abuse to aggravated robbery, and Willie Attaway Jr., a convicted murderer. Subsequently, these two were able to effectively groom this girl into illegal acts and, of course, major violations of jail policy. Mug Club only became aware of this incident because one brave whistleblower contacted us with leaked documents and details of the case. Now, that would seem shocking enough. We understand, though, that mistakes are often made, even harmful ones, unintentionally. The inexcusable part is that once we began investigating, we were repeatedly stonewalled and outright lied to by both the tech school and the sheriff's department. These people knew about the incident. They just didn't want anyone else to know. You know who else didn't know? The U.S. Marshals. Do you know how I know? Because the local chief deputy directed us to them, claiming that the Marshals had been made aware. And so we made some phone calls. It's a good thing we did. The story you're about to hear is definitely disturbing for some viewers, but it's an important one. March 1st, 2024, Jane Doe, a female high school student, was interning as a correctional officer through this criminal justice program at Butler Tech, an alternative learning institution. It's based in Hamilton, Ohio. Now, we, of course, are not going to reveal the name of this person because she's a minor and she's a victim of the incompetency of her program's leadership and the jail's correctional staff within the Butler County Sheriff's Department. According to Butler Tech's website, students on the criminal justice track will put on a uniform and uphold the law of the land with a future in criminal justice and explore all angles of law enforcement from police training to court proceedings, forensics, and investigations to crisis response. As part of the internship program, this Jane Doe was placed in the Butler County Jail. Now, it should be noted, until 2021, Butler County worked with ICE to house immigrants while their asylum cases were pending.
For the first time in about 17 years, Butler County Sheriff's Office will no longer work with ICE to jail immigrants. The sheriff terminated the contract with the Department of Homeland Security this week.
WCPO 9 News reporter Courtney Francisco found out what this means for people held prisoner under the old contract.
Life inside Butler County Jail's immigrant quarters will change over the next 60 days, attorneys say. Immigrants will get released.
Butler County received a hefty sum to do so. In 2017, the Marshals made a deal with the jail for $8.2 million over 5 years to house ICE detainees.
In 2017, WCPO's investigative team told you the federal government used taxpayer dollars to pay the jail about $8.2 million over 5 years to house ICE detainees.
After somewhere around 17 years, the Butler County Jail ended their contract with the Department of Homeland Security, citing that federal officials continue to add unreasonable and cost-prohibitive mandates. Now, our source indicated that the Butler County Jail now receives $10 million in federal funding to house federal inmates on behalf of the U.S. Marshals. We did find a 2014 contract agreement between the United States Marshals Service and the Butler County Jail signed by current Sheriff Richard Jones, which showed a deal totaling $8.4 million. That means that when Jane Doe started her program, it was known she would be working in proximity with federal inmates, including, again, hardened criminals guilty of everything up to and including murder. Now, while that may seem questionable, it could figuratively all have been done above board if all the proper procedures had been followed. They were not followed. And what happened as a result cannot be considered anything close to above board. So according to our source, Jane Doe, a high school student, a minor at the time, was routinely left unsupervised in the facility with, again, hardened inmates. For reference, here's a photo of where Jane Doe might have worked during her time in the program. Now, this minor female, a girl, was then coerced over the course of her internship into smuggling contraband, including drugs, cell phones, and cigarettes. However, that pales in comparison to what happened between Jane Doe, this minor female, and two inmates, Willie Attaway and Larkin McGowan. Attaway is being held at Butler County for murdering the owner of a store during armed robbery.
A man pleads guilty to murdering a convenience store owner and 5 other armed robberies in all. The robberies happening in Hamilton, Lebanon, Deerfield Township, Blue Ash, and Madeira. 32-year-old Willie James Attaway now admitting to murdering the owner of the Madeira beverage. This was back in February of 2021. And again, he pleaded guilty today. It was one of the 5 places he robbed over a 2-day period. After Attaway killed this owner, he then went on to rob 2 more convenience stores that very night. He faces up to 45 years behind bars.
That's just the cherry on top of a long history containing criminal drug charges, domestic abuse. You can read up on it. Now, McGowan has a criminal history of violent crimes, including burglary, aggravated robbery, the run-of-the-mill stuff. According to our source, these inmates actively manipulated, groomed, and coerced Jane Doe into sexual acts, including, not limited to, sodomy. These claims are supported by letters that we have obtained between Jane Doe and the inmates. Now, the letters, which we are about to show you, were shared exclusively with the Mug Club Undercover unit by one of our viewers. And when I told you that Mug Club Undercover was going to be a huge part of the future here of Mug Club, that's exactly what I meant. None of this is possible without you, Mug Club, our members. If you want to help to continue and grow this movement, do consider joining Mug Club at louderwithcrowder.com/Mug Club right now. Use the promo code COVERUP for $20 off. None of this happens without you. Let's take a look at some examples of the correspondence between the hardened federal inmates and young girl. This one here reads as a masterclass in manipulation written by Larkin McGowan to Jane Doe. It says, "Baby, I apologize about earlier. I just don't want you to f*** up what you got going on for one of these clowns. Like I said before, talk too much. He already told everybody he got your Instagram. It's cool to talk, but don't be too friendly, because start thinking other shit. They think you talking to them means that you like them, and you my bitch, so I can't have that. And about what I asked you last week about the Newports, it's really simple, babe. You won't get in trouble if you listen to me and do it the right way. You can literally just put them in your bra until you get in." Here's another one to Jane Doe from Willie Attaway, a.k.a. Bear, a.k.a. convicted murderer. "Bae, my name Bear. I'm 32 years old. I have no kids. I'm from Cincinnati. I grew up downtown. I'm looking for someone I can build with, get to know, and start a future. Someone that's for me, like I'm for them. Someone I can call my person." And Attaway writes like this for pages and pages, including, "I just want to be as safe as possible, and I really want to build with you. I'm not in this relationship to use you or hurt you. Only time I'll hurt you is when we make love, but it will be more pleasure than pain." And if that weren't romantic enough, write down an address I can get at you at, and that Cash App, so I can keep them nails and sexy ass feet done. Let's turn up. I'm not playing with you at all. I'm locking you down. You mine. You my baby. I'm your dude. Write me back ASAP. To my queen from your king. In one particularly graphic letter to Jane Doe, he writes, make sure you write your phone number down on a small piece of paper, ball it up real small, and when you do your rounds, flick it in my cell. My cellie is my homie from the streets, so we good, and you ain't gotta have no worries dealing with us at all. It's the others you gotta be careful about. So is you trying to be wifey or what? Do you want to ride my face and big dick? Can you handle 11 inches? Another gem, a list of get-to-know-you questions from who we presume, based on the less-than-stellar handwriting, is Larkin McGowan, reads, 2, how many dudes do you talk to? 3, can you see yourself being with me when I get out? 4, why you be entertaining these dumbass in here? 5, what do you like most about me? 6, do you or 7, have you ever been to Columbus? 8, what's your favorite position? P.S. I was excited to see you today, and I'm a call tonight between 9 and 9:30. And please stop accepting notes from these. And the shit I be doing in my cell and in the shower, you can't do that with other people because you mines only. Remember, Jane Doe is a minor, a girl. Of course, these acts couldn't go unpunished. She was charged with multiple crimes, including a Class 3 felony. Attaway Jr. and McGowan, they haven't faced any punishment yet, but there is an ongoing C-10 investigation, according to Chief Deputy Dwyer, and according to Ohio.gov, a C-10 violation in this case means that even if found guilty, the inmates could really face nothing more than a restriction of certain privileges for a designated period of time. Justice is served. So in order to corroborate what the source had given us, we FOIA'd the incident report, as well as any communications between Jane Doe and the inmates. We were successful with the incident report confirming a relationship between this girl, Jane Doe, and the inmates, but were denied the letters or any other forms of communication. So naturally, we had more than a few questions, namely, what kind of a program, what kind of a publicly funded program would leave minors unattended with murderers? We reached out to Butler Tech for answers, and what we got included a slew of contradicting answers across 24 separate phone calls. First spoke with Butler Tech Secretary Lacey Homan, who assured us that under no circumstances would a minor ever be left alone in this kind of a situation.
So wait, so you said they do a tour, but they're not, she would never be alone with a convicted criminal.
Oh, no.
Oh, thank God. So I can promise her that there is never going to be a situation where she would be alone with some like hardened criminal.
Correct.
Oh, thank goodness.
Correct.
So
these are still children that we're taking care of.
Yes, they are. That's great. So what kind of safety measures do you guys have in place? Like, I think that's cool. They get to see the jail and all, but like, obviously they would be like supervised by, is that someone from Butler Tech that goes with them on the jail tour?
Yeah, their criminal justice instructor goes, and then normally there's 1 or 2 other chaperones.
Incorrect. We agree these are children. This is not what we would call taken care of. So next, we reached out to the head of the program, Aaron Fitzgerald, who told us that while interns may, from time to time, be left alone, nothing bad has ever happened as a result.
Would a student ever be alone with a criminal in the jail?
Yes. If they're interning.
If they're interning? Okay. So that's something you get in, like, how do you go from, because she's 17 and she's like so psyched for this.
Yeah, I mean, I select those students who are going to do the internships their senior year. But I mean, yes, they will be, I mean, those students who do the internship in a jail, they will be working in a full-fledged
so that, and that,
facility.
That's like without supervision?
I mean, they'll be there with officers, but I mean, will there be times where you might be, alone with the inmate? I mean, that possibility exists.
Okay.
I'm just being real with you.
I appreciate it. I mean, that's what I'm trying to. I'm just trying to put out the fire.
There's all going to be all kinds of paperwork, before we do the internships that they would have to sign. I mean,
Just to be clear, like we're talking like minor high school students will be alone with criminals in jail.
Yeah, I mean, they hire. I mean, the reason why we do it because they hire at age 18.
So they're getting experience before they become an adult.
Yes.
Why wouldn't you guys just?
A lot of our programs have internships. I mean, welding, fire, IT.
I mean, and here's the thing. I can kind of like there's probably never been like an incident, right?
We had anybody. I can tell you that, but it's a jail facility, so
things can happen, right? But
things happen that happen in jail.
No students ever died. Can I tell her that?
Yeah.
Anything like been assaulted, anything like that?
No.
So, okay, good. So no students. I can tell her that no students been assaulted through Butler Tech at the jail.
Correct.
Finally, we spoke with Butler County Chief Deputy Anthony Dwyer, who told us that not only were the interns left alone, but something bad actually did happen.
What was incorrect about what I had stated in my voicemail?
Once again, it's a pending criminal case. The person in this case, the juvenile, has been charged. Did you know that?
Yeah, the juvenile was charged with, it was conveyance of contraband, essentially.
Yeah, that was the original charge, and then there's an underlying discussion about the other physical things that went on in the facility with this juvenile.
We then tried to get some answers, some help from Hamilton High School, who shares a campus with Butler Tech. Unfortunately, we got the runaround from HHS as well, until we were finally called back by Principal Zari, who outright denied any affiliation.
Were you made aware of this situation?
The Butler Tech Criminal Justice Program is not a satellite program here at our campus.
Seems cut and dry, except it was promptly contradicted by the Hamilton School Board.
Hamilton City Board of Education.
Hey there, I was just calling to see if y'all were affiliated with Butler Tech Vocational School.
Yes, there's like some programs that the high school kids take.
Awesome. There's one, so my kid wants to do criminal justice. I heard they got a great program there at Butler Tech.
Yes.
So now we have a harrowing, hair-raising incident involving a girl, violent federal inmates, including a murderer. And the high school can't help. Guess they're not responsible. The tech school can't help. Guess they're not responsible. The local sheriff's department can't help. I guess they're not responsible. Maybe you could argue that since this involves federal prisoners under the supervision of U.S. Marshals, they should be the ones to deal with it. The big question that we had as we continued down this path is, did they even know? When Chief Deputy Dwyer contacted my team on Monday, June 17th, he told us that he was almost positive the Marshals, they knew.
Who was made aware of this situation?
And that's everyone that's involved in this is aware. Obviously the juvenile.
So the Marshals, the kid's family.
I can't confirm. I'm almost positive that they spoke to the Marshals and notified them of the incident.
Unfortunately, when we spoke with the very helpful, by the way, Assistant Chief Deputy U.S. Marshal Melissa Duffy, who our source indicated was responsible for the inmates initially, she indicated that the Marshals, in fact, did not know. And as a result of now knowing, they were launching an investigation.
If you just tell them I did receive this email and we are opening an investigation into this matter, and we will forward it to the appropriate authorities for further investigation.
Are you able to confirm that you were not aware of this prior to us letting you know?
We were not aware.
2 days later, June 17th, Duffy informed us that the U.S. Marshals would be providing a written statement and assured us that they were taking the matter very seriously. I just wanted to confirm that said that you weren't aware of this before we called or brought it to your attention, right?
Well, what I can say is, based on what you guys advised us of on Friday, we are formalizing a written response that once it gets approval from Marshal Service Headquarters, I will forward to you.
Okay.
But outside of the official response, I want to say thank you for bringing this to our attention. And I mean, we are concerned. I can say that.
Yes.
We understand the sensitivity of the matter, and hence why we are doing a written statement.
Yes.
That is it's coming out between the Marshal Service here, Southern Ohio, and Marshal Service Headquarters.
Okay, great. That's
and as soon as I receive that, as you know, from my senior management here locally, which I am a part of, obviously, we will forward it on, and I will personally make sure that you receive it.
As of this recording, we are still waiting to receive the letter. Now, during that same call, Dwyer also downplayed Jane Doe's status as a minor and altogether the seriousness of the situation.
I don't know who you've talked to, but generally with a pending criminal case, we don't talk much about those. I also want to make sure that things are accurate, that you're getting the right information and not, I'm assuming as a journalist, you want to have accurate information that you can report.
Yes, sir. 100%.
So, right. And like I said, when I listen to the message, that's not accurate. Can we talk off the record? Are you truly, I don't really know you, so are you a journalist? Or everyone that's involved in this is aware, obviously the juvenile.
So the Marshals, the kid's family.
I can't confirm. I'm almost positive that they spoke to the Marshals and notified them of the incident. I've been involved in this for quite a while in the jail, and I'm aware that if you're intent on doing something, it's almost impossible to stop. As long as I've been here, I've had correction officers engaged in sexual activity within the facility and been prosecuted. We've sent people to prison for that. And one thing I know is that if somebody is intent on doing something, it's very hard to stop it completely, because you can move around, and while an officer is doing his round, you can step inside a cell for a very short period of time, engage in some nefarious activity, like bringing contraband in or something like that. So it is difficult to stop that 100%.
This was a particularly alarming situation to us because of the age of the student in question.
I believe the person is now 18.
Copy that.
She's an adult.
Well, my sources indicate that that's not the case, but we can double check that. Has there been any change to the policy? Is there anything that's changed as far as supervisory roles inside the facility that could prevent this sort of thing from happening again?
Well, and that's what I mentioned to you earlier. When somebody decides to go down that path, it's virtually impossible to stop it completely. The only information we have during the interview was a consensual encounter with an inmate.
We have the letters written between these two federal inmates, Larkin McGowan and Willie Attaway. We know what went on, sir.
And if you have those, we would appreciate you sharing those with us, because it might lead to the criminal case.
You have them too.
Letters between two inmates?
Yes, and the phone calls. We understand there's video of her being sodomized by these men on her cell phone. So you're telling me there was a guard in earshot of this?
There was, at all times, from my understanding of the investigation, another officer inside the pod. And I don't think that's accurate. I think there was another cell phone involved, and I don't believe that they authenticated any video of the actual incident occurring. That's two separate issues. There is a taped interview with her that is in court as we speak, where you have the whole interview of them talking to her. At first, she denies the allegation, and then she continues on to make other admissions. And there is a full... That is taped, and that is actually currently in the court system now. There's a motion to suppress her statement, and they've had a first hearing, and there's another hearing pending.
Who filed the motion to suppress her statement?
Excuse me?
Who filed the motion to suppress her statement?
Her attorney. If somebody wants to come here so we can exchange that information or receive it, yes, we would take any information if it's relevant to the case. Obviously, we want to get to the truth of the matter, and I believe at the time they did have her phone and they scanned her phone, so we have all that. So if there's something else, and I was aware of another video that I believe is unrelated, but yes, if somebody wants to bring information in here and share it, I'd appreciate that.
Now, while we were in Butler County, my team also visited Butler Tech. Unfortunately, the place was largely a ghost town with only a secretary who knew very little. But still looking for answers, the Mug Club Undercover unit visited the home of Butler Tech program lead Aaron Fitzgerald, and that is when the following exchange took place.
I was looking for Aaron Fitzgerald.
Yes. Who are you with, sir?
Louder with Crowder.
You're louder with Crowder. And what's your name?
My name is.
What's your name?
I'm not going to give you a last name right now. Again, Aaron, you're the one we're asking questions to.
Do not contact my cell phone again.
Okay.
Definitely do not come to my property again.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know what you people are doing, but you're really barking up the wrong tree.
We're asking questions, man.
Sir, I have nothing to say to you.
A student in your program got taken advantage of.
Sir, you got about 5 seconds to get off my.
If you're asking us to leave, we're leaving.
I'm definitely telling you to leave and
not a problem.
Not ever come back.
Understood.
The nerve on.
Well, now I'm not on your property, so now we can talk.
Actually, you are. This is a private neighborhood.
This is a private neighborhood?
Yeah, it signs out front. You have no business being here. Do not come back. We will trespass you.
You've already told me 100%. That. I already understand it. You're the one who came off your property.
This right here. No.
I asked you a question.
This is private property.
For your program.
This is private property.
We are asking questions as journalists. We are not doing anything more than that. We are simply asking questions as journalists. We called you on the phone.
You are on private property.
You hung up the phone on us. You asked us to leave. We're leaving. You then chased us.
You are on. I know. I didn't chase you nowhere. I am in my right here. This is my property.
That's it.
Are you still running the program for criminal
This is my property.
The program still in it?
This is my property. This neighborhood is completely private. You have no business here.
My business was to come talk to you.
No,
you asked me to leave, so now we're leaving.
Your business is not to come talk to me. Please do not contact me on my personal cell phone. Do not ever come back to my house.
The story's coming out next week.
I don't care.
And then we'll take it from there.
I don't have anything to do with your story. I don't care about your story.
Your program.
I don't care about your story.
You don't care about a young girl
don't care about your
who you were responsible for. She was under your care, correct?
No. Do not ever come to my home again.
Understood.
So with all that, a lot of questions still remain, namely all of them, including the ones that I'm sure are bothering you. Is this program still ongoing? And if it is, have any changes been made to ensure the safety of the students, people involved? Who's in charge of the safety? What changes have been made? What accountability has taken place? Who is actually in charge of running an investigation once an incident like this has already taken place and ensuring that it doesn't take place again? Are you seeing how this could happen in any community across the United States? Not just with this type of a program, but any publicly funded, taxpayer-funded program. It seems that any time public funding or grants are involved, people have a vested interest in ensuring that that continues. But where do you go as a tax-paying citizen for accountability, for answers, when your public servants aren't actually serving you? Where do you go when your public servants are actually serving you up to predators? And I don't use that term here. There's not a hint of hyperbole. In this case, we're actually talking about minors with hardened, violent criminals. We caught one. How many more are there? How could you possibly catch them? Let me ask you this. Who would have a vested interest in possibly catching these incidents? And how can you be assured that that person has enough of a conscience to risk going upstream against the grain with everybody else who wants to ensure that it never sees the light of day? Where do you go? They're your tax dollars. They're your daughters, sons, community members. Who steps up? Who do you go to? That can happen anywhere. And it still is. happening everywhere.